The Japanese make some truly spectacular cars. Some of them are beloved and legendary, with people dying to own them, while others doesn't seem to gain the popularity they deserve. There are plenty of quick Japanese hatchbacks which are worth your respect, even though you may not have heard of them before. Nissan Pulsar VZR N1. The Pulsar VZR N1 was only sold in Japan. With only 500 build, it is obviously uncommon. It packs the 1.6-liter SR16VE engine, which screams up to 8600 RPM. Thanks to the Nissan TheStigVVL variable valve lift and timing system, it can easily produce up to 200 horsepower, making it a rival to the then sold Civic Type R. Imagine having a specific output of 125 horsepower per liter in 1997. Honda City Turbo. The City Turbo was a completely rebuilt model. It was one of the few non-K car Hondas to feature a turbocharger at the time. The IHI-made Snail was hooked up to a rebuilt 1.2-liter engine with an aluminum/titanium alloy head and magnesium valve cover. The redesigned chassis featured 4-wheel independent suspension and ventilated disc brakes. The Turbo 2 version was equipped with an intercooler and underwent further engine modifications. Mazda MX-3 V6. The MX-3 was a coupe-like 3-door hatchback of a body shape which may remind you an Opel Tigra or Ford Puma. But these were missing one important element, which the MX-3 had, a V6 engine displacing 1.8 liters. The MX-3 isn't a hot hatch in the true sense, but it was fairly quick with the K-series variable intake manifold length engine. Nissan March SuperTurbo. Hitting 62 miles per hour in 7.7 seconds with only 110 horsepower is something unheard of for today's cars. The March SuperTurbo was capable of such a performance because of its tiny 930cc turbo and supercharged engine, hence the name. The MA09 ERT engine was originally a 1-liter unit, but because of the need for a more durable block, the bore walls were thickened by 1 mm. Other than numerous other engine mods, the car featured either a 3-speed auto or 5-speed manual in combination with a viscous LSD. By the way, it had a 10,000 unit limited production run. Nissan Pulsar GTi-R. Although the Pulsar GTI-R was not really uncommon, it deserves a spot on this list anyway. From the outside, the GTI-R seemed like a normal hatchback. It only gained a rear spoiler and hood vent. Under the bonnet, an SR20 DET engine was hidden, compared to the Atesa all-wheel drive system. With the 5-second bracket 0 to 62 mph time, you can imagine that not only it was one of the fastest hatchbacks at its time, but also today. Mazda 323 GTX. Mazda began with hot hatches in the 80s at the time of the 5th gen 323 model. The GTX branded version didn't feature the largest or most powerful engine, but it was combined with a turbo. It benefited from an all-wheel drive system with which the car proved to be successful in the Group A Rally Championship. The newer gen also saw the GTX version packing a larger engine and more power. Nissan Almera GTI. The Almera GTI was developed by the end of the millennium. Compared to its civil variant, the GTI had more aggressive styling, but nothing crazy. It was more interesting under the hood, where the SR20DE engine was placed. With only 143 horsepower, it wasn't the most powerful atmospheric version, but the Almera GTI wasn't a heavy car either. It cornered well and could achieve reasonable fuel economy too. Daihatsu Charade GTI. Today, when some European cars started with 1-liter 3-cylinder engines, back in the 80s the same spec engine was the top-of-the-range Daihatsu Charade GTI, loaded with a massive punch of 100 horses. It's interesting how the world has changed, especially when such a car was able to hit 60 mph in about 7 seconds in the real world. Its fuel economy could be around 31 mpg, which is still great mileage. Allegedly, the engine would be fine even with higher boost. Toyota Corolla GTI 16. In 1997, a new generation of the Corolla was introduced, never to be rear-wheel drive like in the previous one with the AE85 and 86. However, the 4AGE was carried over and used in the Corolla GTI sold in Europe. The legendary 4-banger made a little over 120 horsepower in GTI spec, which meant a decent dynamics and almost 200 km/h / 125 mph top speed. Mitsubishi Mirage Turbo. The Mitsubishi Mirage Turbo was, according to Car and Driver magazine, one of the best performance value cars you could have in 1989. It wasn't particularly expensive, nor popular, it was underrated. The 1.6-liter turbocharged 4G61T engine was about 30% more powerful than the old gen, and if you tried hard, would even get great fuel economy. It was also sold as the Dodge Colt GTI Turbo.